we're done with rational inquiry. It can't hurt us anymore. We are moving on to watching clips of the vow. So we will get to see Master Manipulator, Cult Leader, Keith Raniere in action. We're starting off with this clip, which is when Keith Raniere meets Allison Mack for the very first time. And I picked this one because I think it's a prime example of priming. It's not very long, but there's a lot to unpack. So I figured we'd do one run through uninterrupted, and then I'll do my breakdown bit by bit of what I think is happening. So let's just go ahead and get started.
Is that important to you?
Yes.
Why?
Why is that important to me? Because it's, because I think it's, because so much of who I am is wrapped up in art.
Give me an example. I guess I'm not.
When I go to see a film or a piece of artwork or something happens to me, I'm just so excited. And one blissful, joyful.
You know, you can practice generating an extreme feeling of joy over anything. There are methods that we have, especially in 2C, that go through this. It's one of our intensives. What's it called now? Civilization? Civilization? I mean, what if artistic endeavors were really bogus? What if art was just an excuse for those who couldn't do?
And it is sometimes.
The most excitement that you've ever felt is yours to have all the time, independent of art. The bad news is you sort of have to divorce yourself from the thought that it comes from the art. If you feel that art is necessary for that, that's almost a self-condemnation. Why is this emotional?
Hi.
It's okay. She comes in close.
I know, right? I should be used to this. That's what I do for a living. Because it's pointing at something I've never thought about. And a part of me is kind of freaked out about accepting this. I'm used to that self-condemnation. I'm comfortable with that. If I let go of that belief, that it's not the art that's giving me this feeling, it's me that's giving me this feeling, then I have to trust that I will be capable of giving myself that feeling. And I don't necessarily trust that right now. And so that's scary, because I want that feeling. Will you give me an EM? Not right now, but at some point.
I'll speak. I normally don't give people EMs like.
I don't know the protocol because I'm just
see what happens.
popping my chair. So.
Oh my.
So to speak.
I turned a little red. But I mean, to some degree, we did a little bit of art. So.
Yeah, I felt that.
So.
Thank you. That was
Do you hug?
really. Do I hug? I hug and I kiss.
No. Right. Good voice.
Thank you. Me too.
Allison was just so excited for me to meet Keith. It was like, you gotta meet Keith, come to volleyball.
All right. So, frame one, before we even get into it, we see here a boatload of priming. So this is taking place in Albany, New York. Now, I don't know where Allison lives at this point in time, but I'm pretty sure it's not Albany, New York. And there's not a whole lot going on in Albany, New York, that I don't think that she would need to be there. So I am taking it that she flew in from wherever she was just for this occasion, just to meet Keith Raniere. And where are they? They're playing volleyball. So volleyball is very important in NXIVM culture. Only the inner circle gets to do it. And usually you need to build up to see Keith Raniere for the first time. For her, this is a special occasion because she's not really so much in the cult yet. So this is them doing a sales pitch to draw her in. Now, at this time, Allison Mack is like a C-list celebrity. She plays Clark Kent's best friend in high school in the show Smallville. And people go, oh, Smallville. I saw a commercial for that. Oh, that lady I saw on the TV, she's in this cult. Oh, well then it must be legit. It must be good. So she is getting exclusive, and she knows this, right? She's getting exclusive access to Keith Raniere, who she is told ahead of time is a super IQ genius. And he's not just a super IQ genius, an ethical super IQ genius. And he is going to save the world. And she gets to meet him. Wow. What an honor. So here we go.
Is that important to you?
Yes.
Why?
Why is that important to me? Because it's, because I think it's, because so much of who I am is wrapped up in art.
Give me an example. I guess I'm not.
When I go to see a film or a piece of artwork or...
Okay. So what he's doing here is a parlor trick. He's going to ask someone what's important to you. And regardless of what their answer is, his response is going to be the exact same thing. Oh, this thing is important to you? Well, actually, it's dumb that that's important to you. Let me explain to you what should really be important to you. Because you don't know yet. I know. I'll help you out.
If something happens to me, I'm just so excited. And one blissful, joyful.
You know, you can practice generating an extreme feeling of joy over anything. There are methods that we have, especially in 2C, that go through.
2C?
It's one of our intensives. What's it called now? Civilization? Civilization.
So, on the surface, it looks like they're having a conversation. But really, this is a commercial, right? He's selling her on NXIVM, the courses. Come buy our stuff. We'll teach you everything. And civilizations, wow, that just sounds so fancy and smart.
I mean, what if artistic endeavors were really bogus? What if art was just an excuse for those who couldn't do?
Okay, so this is where priming really comes into play. So imagine for a moment that you are at a bus stop and you are having this conversation with someone you don't know anything about them. And you tell them you like art. And they start saying things like, well, what if art's like really bogus? How would you react to that? Would you give it any consideration? Or would you say, oh, actually, my phone's ringing, I can't talk, or, figure I'll just take the next bus and just like leave. But because you're told this guy is super smart, it can't be that what he's saying is like just stupid and nonsense. It has to be profound, right? So without that, what does this conversation look like? It would look very different, okay? But he's banking on the fact that you are already believing that he is smart.
And it is sometimes.
The most excitement that you've ever felt is yours to have all the time, independent of art. The bad news is you sort of have to divorce yourself from the thought that comes from the art. If you feel that art is necessary for that, that's almost a self-condemnation.
Okay, so this is all scripted, right? He's done this a million times. Even the gestures. Let's take another peek. Okay, watch his face, watch his gestures. This is all scripted.
The most excitement that you've ever felt is yours to have all the time, independent of art. The bad news is you sort of have to divorce yourself from the thought that comes from the art.
Right, and now he pauses and he thinks of the next line. See it in his face.
If you feel that art is necessary for that. That's almost a self-condemnation.
Right? Because it's not a real conversation. It's a commercial.
Why is this emotional?
Hi.
It's okay. She comes in close.
I know, right? I should be used to this. That's what I do for a living. Because it's pointing at something I've never thought about. And a part of me is kind of freaked out about accepting this. I'm used to that self-condemnation. I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so I know this is edited, right? But it seems like there are so many opportunities that he could go off script and weasel in and, you know, come up with really great things. But he's not, he just doesn't have it like that. He just has the script. That's all he knows. So I think if he did anything other brilliant moves in this, it'd be included in this clip. But I think this is the best he's got.
If I let go of that belief that it's not the art that's giving me this feeling, it's me that's giving me this feeling, then I have to trust that I will
staring
be
and blinking.
capable of giving myself.
Just staring and blinking.
And I don't necessarily trust that right now. And so that's scary because I want that feeling.
Doesn't know what to do with himself.
Will you give me an EM? Not right now, but at some point.
I'll speak. I normally don't give people EMs like. We'll see
I
what
don't know the
happens.
protocol because I'm just
We'll see what happens.
popping my
it-
cherry. So.
Oh my!
So to speak.
I turned a little red. But I mean, to some degree, we did a little bit of art. So,
Yeah, I felt that.
so.
Thank you. That was
Do you hug?
really. Do I hug? I hug and I kiss.
No, Right. Good voice.
Thank you. Me too.
Allison was just so excited for me to meet Keith. It was like, you gotta meet Keith, come to volleyball.
Okay. So just for context, Keith Raniere told everyone his IQ was like over 200 points. Eventually, NXIVM gets busted because they find out he is involved with DOS, which is a basically coming up with sex slaves is basically what DOS is, which all the people in it were pretty much coerced to be in it. It wasn't like master manipulation. They were pretty much tricked into it. When the other members found out about this, that was pretty much the end of it. They were outraged. They left. They even made this documentary saying, "Wow, what a monster." Now let's compare this to David Koresh of Waco, Texas. See, David, he told everyone his IQ was in the 80s. What he got to do is that he got all the males in his compound to not only agree to be celibate, but they gave him their blessing to sleep with their wives. And they thought this was, wow, you want to sleep with my wife? That's amazing. I'm so happy for me. And then they helped raise the children he had with his wife. And when the feds found out, they're like, yeah, I'll shoot with the feds for you. I'll die in a fire for you. But you know, Keith didn't have that. And I think we just saw why. So we're gonna watch this again. But this time, we're gonna focus on Allison Mack, because she is also playing her own little parlor tricks. So just like anything she would say, Keith would say the exact same responses. Anything Keith would say, she would react the same way. So let's take another look-see, shall we?
Is that important to you?
Yes.
Why?
Why is art important to me? Because I think it's, because so much of who I am is wrapped up in art.
Give me an example. I guess I'm not.
When I go to see a film, or
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go back. And we're going to notice she kind of has a shift in how she talks. So just like Keith Raniere has done a bit of priming, she is also doing a little bit of priming. So let's hear her talk just a little bit.
why is art important to me? Because it's,
Right? She's talking
I think it's,
normal, thinking.
because so much of who I am is
Because of
wrapped
so
up in
much who
art.
I am is wrapped up in. Now she's talking a little differently. And what I think is happening is that she is doing what is called mirroring. She's picking up on his speech patterns. He's coming off as like philosophical, slow talking, seems deep, right? So she wants to copy that and align with him. So he likes her better.
An example. I guess I'm not.
When I go to see a film or a piece of artwork, or something happens to me, I'm just so excited and one blissful, joyful.
So let's go back to the bus stop example. You're talking to someone about their interest in art, and they start talking. Oh, it's like wonderful, blissful, joyful. What do you think? Do you think you're having a normal, authentic conversation with someone? Or are you thinking, wow, this person's talking a little weird. Why are they talking like that? Right? But okay, you could be generous and you can say, well, this is a very important moment for her. She's meeting someone who thinks she's going to save the world. So she's putting up a little performance. She wants to be liked. What's wrong with that? All right?
You know, you can practice generating an extreme feeling of joy over any.
Okay, so we're going to go back just a little bit more. And now we're going to pay attention to her face. Blissful, wonderful, joyful.
Blissful, joyful.
So she's getting a little, glossy-eyed here. She's getting a little red in the face. Now, this was edited. So did he say something that was, like, really deep? And, like, so she had, like, a reaction to it? I'm guessing probably not. I'm guessing that would have been included. And yet, she seems to be, like, on the verge of tears somehow. So let's remember that ALLISON MACK is an actor. And she's very good at knowing when there are beats, right? So she is thinking, okay, at some point, I gotta have an emotional breakdown. Because he's gonna try to break me down. That's what, she's smart enough to know what he's going to do before he does it. So she's preparing herself. He's gonna say something really profound and deep, and I'm gonna have a breakdown. So that way he's really impressed with me. And she's working it up, right? She's getting herself there.
You can practice generating an extreme feeling of joy over anything.
Right? She's waiting for it to come. He's gonna do it. He's gonna give her something. It's gonna happen soon.
There are methods that we have, especially in 2C, that
What
go
is
through.
2C?
It's one of our intensives. What's it called now? Civilization. Civilization. I mean, what if artistic endeavors were really bogus? What if art was just an excuse for those who couldn't do?
And it is sometimes.
Okay, she's still waiting. He's not giving it, but she's hanging in there. She's gonna find it.
The most excitement that you've ever felt is yours to have all the time, independent of art. The bad news is you sort of have to divorce yourself from the thought that it comes from the art. If you feel that art is necessary for that, that's almost a self-condemnation.
Okay, yes, self-condemnation. I can work with that. Yes, finally, thank you. There you go. Isn't it so sad for me that I would condemn myself? Isn't that so sad for me? That's so tragic. I'm gonna cry right now.
Why is this emotional?
She doesn't know. She doesn't know why that's emotional, right? She just knows that something has to be emotional. She's just stalling. Trying to think of, hi.
It's okay. She comes in close.
I know, right? I should be used to this. That's what I do for a living. Because it's pointing at something I've never thought about. and a part of me is kind of freaked out about accepting this. I'm used to that self-condemnation. I'm comfortable with that.
There it is. The invitation to, oh, I'm broken down. Rescue me. Rescue me. I'm vulnerable. Rescue me. And he's not used to this, right? He's dumbfounded. He doesn't know. He can't go off script because he's, you know, this isn't part of the script. He doesn't. He's totally steamrolled. He has no fucking idea what's going on.
If I let go of that
He's probably thinking, "Wow, I'm so good at this. Wow, she's really crying. That's never happened before."
belief that it's not the art that's giving me this feeling, it's me that's giving me this feeling, then I have to trust that I will be capable of giving myself that feeling. And I don't necessarily trust that right now. And so that's scary because I want that feeling.
Okay, obviously it makes no sense, right? You want to give yourself. That's why you watch. That's why you look at art, because you give yourself that feeling. Oh, it's the art that's giving you that feeling. That's what your belief before, but you're still seeking out the art. So you are giving yourself that feeling. But again, it doesn't matter. It's not about making sense. It's that she knows that this is part of her end of the script. So they're both selling each other on something. All right. She's going to sell herself as, look at me, I'm going to be your best student ever. So they both have their own little agendas going on.
Will you give me an EM? Not right now, but at some point.
I'll speak. I normally don't give people EMs like. We'll see
I
what
don't know
happens.
the protocol because I'm just
We'll see what happens.
popping my cherry. So.
Okay, so she's not even letting him finish, which she's probably going to say like, well, yeah, I'll do something for you. But she doesn't care. She has this pre-scripted, right? I'm going to ask for an EM. She's pushing the boundary. She knows exactly what she's doing. But she's, I'm just a silly, stupid girl. I don't know how anything works, right? But she is actually better at this than him. She knows exactly what's going on. So let's do this a little. Okay.
I'll speak. I normally don't give people EMs like.
You get the no.
We'll see
I
what
don't know the
happens.
protocol.
I'm silly, stupid.
Cause
I'm just popping my cherry.
We'll see what happens.
Popping my cherry.
Right? Sexually suggestive, isn't it? Oh, and it's also innocent. Popping your cherry. That means like you're a virgin. You're new to this. Oh, I'm just so naive. I'm just.
Oh my!
So to speak.
I turned a little red. But I mean, to some degree, we did a little bit.
All right, and that landed really good. So she's really happy with that. She's smiling real big. Right? That's better than what she planned. Because he's so dumb.
Yeah, I felt that.
He's so bamboozled.
Thank you. That was really. Do I hug? I hug and I kiss.
Okay. So, okay. Let's go. Even from the beginning. Look at this. He's trying to sell her on something, right? So awkward. This is so awkward. Okay. He's supposed to be this charismatic guy. Stiff, he goes to the other person. And they do this like weird little, and then she is the one that connects it, right? She's the one that holds, and she gives this awkward little shrug. He taps her lightly. He like doesn't even touch her, and then she's the one that has to touch him because she's better at this than he is. So here she
Is
goes.
that important to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awkward.
Why?
There you go. Here, let's touch it. And now, here at the end, do you hug? A hug and a kiss.
Thank you. That was
Do you hug?
really. Do I hug? I hug and I kiss.
No. Right. Good voice.
Thank you. Me too.
Allison was just so excited for me to meet Keith.
There she is. She's having an existential crisis. The thing that's most important to her, that's wrapped up in who she is, her identity, was just demolished. And she's just so broken up about it. Or things went exactly how she wanted, and she's feeling awesome. It's one of those two.
It was
Maybe
like,
she's
you gotta
hiding
make
it really
Keith come to
well.
volleyball.
In Lifetime movies, there's this common trope, and it's that the protagonist tames a womanizing man. You have this son of a millionaire who's a playboy, and he's sleeping with all these trash women until the protagonist comes along, and she is just so wonderful. She's just so modest, down to earth, funny, smart, beautiful, all of it, that he just forsakes all other women. He can't even conceive of having any sexual romantic feelings about anyone else, right? This is a power fantasy. Now, I don't know if Allison at this point is aware of his harem of women or his reputation for getting around, but obviously Keith Raniere is, in this situation, considered a high status male, at least to the cult members, right? Maybe a little bit outside. So she's seeing everyone looking up to this man, and he has power. And if she can get into his favor, she will have that power by proxy. If he sees her as better as anyone else, that would be really validating for her, right? But that's not what happens. So that's got to be really frustrating if you're Allison Mack, if you feel like you are really great and that you should be recognized for how great you are. And yet, this man is not forsaking all these other women for you. What do? You do the next best thing. And you assert your dominance over these other women. How do you do that? You make yourself the top of a hierarchy. What is making me say all this? Well, I guess what my suspicions lie in is that the brand that had Keith Raniere's initials in them also had her initials in them. So, if you're Allison Mack, your initials are on all these sex slaves, you are still top dog. And it's not exactly what you wanted, but maybe, since you're putting in all this effort, maybe if you just keep doing that, then he'll finally wake up and realize that you are the one. You are his soulmate all along, and all this silly, stupid stuff he can just give up, right? So if you're Allison Mack, and oops, cat's out of the bag, now the feds are knocking on your door, we're going to charge you with sex trafficking. Oh, no, it wasn't me. It was Keith Raniere. It was all him, right? Because you resent him, and at some level you hate him because you really wanted him to do this thing that he never did. So you're not going to have loyalty to him. You're going to turn him in lickety-split because you are angry deep down at him. And that's what I think happened. So we are going to do one more clip. And this is from another person who I think is a better cult leader than Keith Raniere, and that is NANCY SALZMAN.
It's going to take you some time to heal. This is the piece that I really hope that you can articulate how psychological manipulation is self-perpetuating. You were used for the things you were good at and for how he could control you. And here's an important thing. The curriculum and the way the organization was built was clearly to take control over people's lives. It was designed to control people. Now, that is not what you believed, I'm sure. That is not what you believe today, probably.
Well, I don't know that the curriculum did it as much as Keith did it. Because, there were 17,000 people unaffected and had good experiences with the curriculum. People came, took courses, left, in and there was none of that in that.
Yeah. It's one of the main tactics that is a hallmark of psychological manipulation is to tear someone down, but then have the answer for how they can fix themselves.
That was him.
That's cooked in to the trainings that you designed, in a way. And he, I think, understood that.
Well, thank you for your help.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, so this is taking place, I think, during her trial, or she's awaiting sentencing or something. And I said this was an expert talking to her. I don't think this is like her therapist or anything. I think if it was her therapist, it makes sense that she would tiptoe, and because you want people to return and have another session with you. But she was very tiptoey around here, right? So
it's going to take you some time to heal. This is the piece that I really hope that you can articulate how psychological manipulation is self-perpetuating. You were used for the things you were good at and for how
Yes, she likes that because, yeah, I didn't do anything
he
wrong.
could
That's right.
control you.
Yeah, you controlled me.
And here's an important thing. The curriculum and the way the organization was built was clearly to take control over people's lives.
No, that sounds bad, because that sounds like I'm at fault. That can't be right.
You know? It was designed to control people. Now, that is not what you believed, I'm sure. That is not what you believe today, probably.
Well, I don't know that the curriculum did it as much.
She knows, right? She knows. So this is where you gotta be a Nancy. You know what you did. And you know cult leaders have to know that they're cult leaders, because you have to bullshit on the fly if you're a cult leader. You have to come up with stuff, like people are going to come at you with things you didn't think about. And they're going to try to wriggle out of things you're trying to force them to do. So you have to, in that moment, be on your toes thinking of bullshit to tell them. So yeah, you know. They all know. They all know they're full of shit.
Much as Keith did it. Because, you know, there were 17,000 people unaffected and had good experiences with the curriculum.
Nancy. That's why you just gotta say Nancy. Cut it out.
People came, took courses, left, in and like, there was none of that in that.
Yeah. It's one of the main tactics that is a hallmark of psychological manipulation is to tear someone down, but then have the answer for how they can fix themselves.
That was him.
That was you.
In to the trainings that
Yeah,
you designed.
you did that.
In a way.
In a way, no. Yes, she did that.
And he, I think, understood that.
Now, you're Nancy. Yeah, you're coming up with all this curriculum. And the whole point of having Keith there is that he gets to take the blame. So she's not loving this right now. Because she's trying to fall back on, hey, I was just following orders, right? Even though she's the one who did most of the work.
Well, thank you for your help.
All right.
Bye. I find myself feeling resistant to some of the things she thinks about ESP. I feel resistant.
I don't know why they're having this conversation to begin with. Is she acting like, I don't know, I guess, I don't know. Why are they talking? Why would you explain to someone how they're a cult leader?
I hope it's not true. It would really break my heart if it was true. Because if the thing that I thought that I loved the most and I thought did the most good was really damaging people, I think that would be very hard.
And here's the thing. A lot of the stuff in the curriculum is based off other things that is actually helpful. So yeah, when she says like, oh yeah, some of it helped people, yeah, it did. But it's not because of anything they come up with. But what she did come up with was added on top of it, and it was designed to control people. And she knew that.
I don't know how I could come back from that.
I don't know what the shot is trying to communicate with us. Is that like she's drinking wine because she's remorseful? Is she reflecting? Like, why is she like not able to cope? Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me with this.
It's going to take you some time to heal.
Why is this here?
Highlight the aha moments, the times when you may feel guilty because you could have stepped in or you promoted things that hurt others.
I feel like this is not what she needs to process. I feel like you should be focusing on other things.
Looking back, I was constantly doing damage control about Keith's sex life. It was so hard. I never wanted to do that.
So when Keith and Nancy first teamed up, she knew full well that he was a sex weirdo. She knew he had multiple girlfriends. She knew he ran MLMs, right? She knew this. She knew he was a con artist. She knew this.
I don't know whether I want to talk about this, but he kept sending me in. I felt so lost, and I had no one to talk to, and I don't know if I did good things or bad things. I didn't know anymore because I couldn't tell. I didn't know. I didn't know what was right and wrong anymore because he kept saying that I'm gonna die if you don't do this. You don't understand how this affects my health. You have to go do this, and I would just keep going in and going in and going in.
Okay, so I feel really bad for Nancy because Nancy was just in it for the financial crimes. She just wanted to be a scam artist. She didn't, like, if it weren't for DOS, if it weren't for the branding, she would have died rich. She would have died with this great reputation among her little cult. She would have had it made. But then, because Keith Raniere can't keep it under control, now she's losing it all. Now she has to go to jail. And this is not what she signed up for. And he just, it's really tragic for her, right? Because she knew what she was doing. She was doing her part. And yeah, it had to be annoying going in and trying to fix Keith Raniere's relationships because he's not good enough to do it on his own, right? And she did have to keep it together, right? She didn't give a shit because it was worth it to her to get all that money, right? She could have just, if she really helped people, she really cared about helping people, she could have just had a helping job. But the problem with that is that it does not pay millions and millions of dollars, does it? And that's what she wanted. And she doesn't really like people that much. So she doesn't, it's helping people. She gets paid a lot. She gets her aggression out. She gets, you're stupid, let me fix your life for you, right? She had it made until Keith Raniere ruined it with his sex weirdo-ness. But again, she knew from the beginning who he was.
I mean, maybe that's how I participate. That's why I participated. I was trying to put it back together all the time. I was trying to make up for what he was doing. I don't know. I don't know, but I guess that's at the root of the whole thing. I feel so guilty because I couldn't do.
Really, it's just Keith. Keith was the whole problem. It wasn't that she was doing anything wrong by trying to take a bunch of money for people for a bunch of stuff she knows was bullshit.
Do better. I don't know. These people are gonna come to my sentencing and maybe I should go to jail because this is what I did. So when Lord says, Mom, it happened on our watch, the two of us know what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. He put us in this position and we didn't know what to do. We couldn't manage it. Maybe it's, for 3 years I have to sit and be in jail to make up for the damage that I did by empowering him.
Sad. Well, could have had it all, Nancy. So you're Nancy Salzman. The feds come knocking on your door. Excuse me, what's this about? Sex trafficking? I had nothing to do with that. That's all Keith. Right? You blow him in as fast as you can. Of course you do. And that's what happened, right? Keith Raniere just not have the loyalty that other cult leaders had. And I think this answered a lot of that. So we're gonna look into more future clips about why would people join this cult. Can't be Keith Raniere, so it's gotta be something. So we'll figure it out.